What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. Today we're talking the latest episode of WWE Timeline, entitled By Any Means Necessary, focusing on The Rock's early rise in WWE. It's funny, the title of this episode is essentially the exact same thing as the premiere episode, entitled Whatever It Takes, By Any Means Necessary. They mean the exact same thing, so I'm not exactly sure why it was titled in similar fashion. But this was the fifth episode they've done of the show in the last month. The first few focusing on The Miz versus Daniel Bryan, Bret Hart versus Owen Hart, AJ Styles versus John Cena, and Christian versus Randy Orton. This one wasn't really a feud so much as it was The Rock's rise as a WWE superstar. Now, it only really focuses from his debut in '96 through kind of the Nation of Domination stuff. It's essentially his rise in the Nation of Domination, feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin over the Intercontinental Championship, and they don't really cover a whole lot past mid-98. They kind of brushed through it at the end there. But I thought it was a good episode. The title could have been a little better, but it was different to see an episode of the show not focus on a feud, but more so a certain superstar and how they made it to where they were. It is worth noting, as always, Mauro Ranallo offered the narration for the show, which was great, just because now Mauro Ranallo, as of this recording, is no longer in WWE. That news broke a couple of weeks ago. I'm not really sure exactly when this is going up. But yeah, unfortunately, Mauro Ranallo is no longer with WWE, so hopefully they recorded a whole bunch of these episodes with him, so we can continue to hear him on the show for the foreseeable future. But we start out, the very first thing we see on this episode is from August 11, 1997, when The Rock went heel and joined the Nation of Domination, which is kind of a preview of what to expect on this episode. So they kind of kick it off, really, with WWE beginning to tout the arrival of Rocky Maivia in 1996, a very highly anticipated arrival in WWE considering his lineage in wrestling, with his father being Rocky Johnson and his grandfather being High Chief Peter Maivia. So he debuts at the Survivor Series pay-per-view, successfully won the match for his team, and they kind of document his early rise, winning matches, winning the Intercontinental Championship from Hunter Hearst Helmsley on the February 13th, 1997 edition of Raw, right before WrestleMania 13. And of course, he successfully retained the championship at WrestleMania, and he was kind of getting over before fans started to reject him. That humbleness about him, people just really started, it really kind of got under people's skin. So he won the Slammy Award for 1996 New Sensation of the Year. I think the same award that Stone Cold had either won the year before or was, he felt a little slighted that it wasn't him. Because 96 was the year of Stone Cold as well. Winning King of the Ring, cutting that great promo, and everything else that he'd done in 96, calling out Bret Hart for the Survivor Series pay-per-view. So he dedicated that Slammy Award win to his father, but he got booed. Stone Cold felt slighted, and then he embarked on a massive losing streak. He could never really win whenever it mattered most. So he went heel by joining the Nation of Domination on August 11, 1997. On August 18th, the Nation of Domination explained his actions, why he would want to join the group. He said, screw off, and he cut one of those great heel Rock promos, and that was the first real promo that we got to hear what The Rock had for his talking chops. Really got to hear how great of a talker he was, how great of a trash talker he was specifically. And he cited the Die Rocky Die chants as a big reason as to why he turned his back on the fans. He demanded respect. And that group, a Nation of Domination, was going to earn that respect by any means necessary. So that's where the tagline came from. But the whole whatever it takes thing, they probably should have reworded that for the title of the first episode, if that's what they were going to name this one. So anyway, that's when he really started the fire in all cylinders. Fast forward to November of 1997, he interrupted the Intercontinental Champion, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And they had a great verbal exchange. They show a majority of the promo, which was great. Stone Cold said, hey, listen, you don't suck as the fans tell you you suck. You suck because Stone Cold said so, which was a great line. Nation of Domination attacked Stone Cold the next week on Raw. Rock pretended to be champion because he took Stone Cold's title. And that was when he started to talk about himself in the third person. I'm not sure, I forgot exactly when he started. I mean, it was in that promo in November that Jerry Lawler goes, we heard the commentary, why does he call himself The Rock? So I feel like that was the real debut of The Rock and not a couple of months earlier when he went heel. I may be wrong there. He may have been going by The Rock by that point already. But it sounded like that was the debut of the Rock persona, was when he cut that promo in November, calling himself The Rock and talking about himself in the third person. So the Nation interrupted a Rock versus Dude Love match after Dude Love was about to win the match. They interfered in Rock's behalf. November 24th, Stone Cold goes after Nation of Domination. This is when we see kind of a great montage of Nation, of D'Lo Brown, who was a member of the Nation at that point, including Farouk, Rock, the Godfather, and D'Lo Brown, eating all these stunners, and no one could sell a stunner, for the most part, better than D'Lo Brown. He took a lot of stunners back in the day. So they then face off Rock and Stone Cold at the In Your House D-Generation X pay-per-view in December of 1997. That's where Stone Cold beat The Rock to quote-unquote win back / retain, in reality, the Intercontinental Championship. The next night on Raw, Mr. McMahon comes out. And this was right after the whole Montreal Screwjob stuff. So he was already kind of getting a lot of heat from the fans. He wasn't doing the whole "you're fired" bit yet, but he was still obviously on the heelish side. So he was threatening to take the championship off of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I forgot what the reason was. Maybe he felt that Stone Cold cheated, or it was rightfully The Rock's championship. I forgot exactly what it was. But this whole exchange went down the next night on Raw. So Austin pretended to forfeit the championship and stun The Rock instead. So he was still clearly the Intercontinental Champion. It was around that same time, on December 15th, that they started to tease tension between The Rock and Farouk. So Stone Cold tosses the championship off of a bridge in late 97. I think it was The Rock's... Was it the Brahma Bull Championship? I forgot exactly what it was, but he tossed the championship off the bridge. I forgot exactly where that was, but it was that iconic segment, and they showed that here too, which was funny. December 29th, the Rock and Farouk tease tension again over who's the rightful leader and Rock getting a big head and all this other stuff. January 5th, 1998, Farouk faces Shamrock on Raw. And I think Farouk lost after inadvertent interference from the rest of the Nation, specifically The Rock. January 12th, the Nation faced Shamrock and Mark Henry in a tag team match on Raw. That's when Mark Henry turned on Ken Shamrock to join the Nation of Domination. That leads to a 6-man tag team match at the 1998 No Way Out pay-per-view, where Shamrock submitted The Rock. Shamrock submitted The Rock. That sounded weird because they both have Rock in their name. I forgot who exactly Shamrock teamed with, but his team won after he submitted The Rock, earning him another Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania 13. And it was right after that match, after The Rock lost the match for his team, that Rock and Farouk essentially imploded. They started brawling with each other. The Godfather, Mark Henry, and D'Lo Brown had to break up the brawl. February 22nd was when The Rock attempted to make amends with Farouk. So he gave him a picture of himself. It was that great segment on Raw. Not a picture of Farouk. He gave him a picture of The Rock, that great self-portrait, which was hilarious. It was a picture of The Rock like blown up to be like 10 times bigger. And Farouk was like, what the hell is this shit, you know? So that leads on the same night on Raw. Steve Blackman beats Farouk in one-on-one action after The Rock's ringside antics kind of backfired, causing Farouk to lose the match. So Rock actually struck Farouk the next week on Raw from behind, and he kind of played it off like, oh, it was an accident, I didn't mean to. The Nation kind of helped Farouk to the back, so they didn't implode officially there. But it was at WrestleMania 14 that The Rock beat Ken Shamrock by disqualification. So Shamrock essentially won the match by submitting The Rock. He won the Intercontinental Championship. And then the decision was reversed after the Nation came out. He beat the shit out of the Nation. He wouldn't let go of the hold on The Rock. He was a loose cannon. He attacked the referees, and the referees were like, listen, you're disqualified. We're reversing the decision. The Rock, by disqualification, is still the Intercontinental Champion. The whole story here, the subtle story being told in that segment when Shamrock beat Rock, was that Farouk didn't save The Rock. The Rock was getting his ass kicked by Ken Shamrock. Farouk didn't give a shit. He just walked off, didn't give a fuck about The Rock. So Shamrock got himself DQ. The Rock wins by DQ. Rock still Intercontinental Champion. So The Rock, the next night on the Raw, praises Farouk for bringing him into the Nation and, being the reason why he is so successful, why he is the Intercontinental Champion, before betraying him outright. And that was when Nation of Domination actually attacked Farouk as well. They started brawling, and they didn't break it up initially before they started helping The Rock. So they sided with The Rock as the leader of the Nation of Domination. That was when The Rock assumed leadership of the group. And this is when they kind of brushed through everything else that happened in the remainder of Rock's career in WWE, saying that he had ups and downs in the remainder of 1998, with Shamrock beating The Rock in the King of the Ring finals that summer to become the 1998 King of the Ring. The Nation also feuded with D-Generation X, and I think they actually had a match. They didn't talk about this, but Farouk and Rock had a match at one of those pay-per-views in mid-98 that Rock won in like 5 minutes. But yeah, Shamrock beat Rock in the King of the Ring finals. Nation feuded with DX, and that was what led to Triple H beating The Rock in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship at the SummerSlam pay-per-view in 98. It was soon after that at Survivor Series that Rock became WWE Champion after that great swerve in the Deadly Games tournament. And then he became a big star in the years that followed. They talk about, they show him beating Stone Cold at WrestleMania 19, beating John Cena at WrestleMania 28, and all this other stuff. So yeah, I thought it was a good episode. If you're a big Rock fan, you'll enjoy it. If you're an Attitude Era fan, you'll enjoy it. It doesn't teach you anything new. It's all just a recount of history. But it is a great way to kind of catch someone up to speed who wasn't there for the Attitude Era, that doesn't know a lot about The Rock's early rise before his WWE Championship runs, that doesn't know a lot about the Nation of Domination and how he became a part of it and how instrumental that group was in the success that Rock later experienced on his own and creating that great heel Rock character. So definitely give it a watch. It's about 45, 46 minutes, kind of along the same lines as the other episodes, but it's really good, and I'll never pass up an opportunity to hear Mauro Ranallo recount history, because I think he was great in this role, and hopefully they can get him on to do more episodes, even though he's no longer with WWE. And I assume all the other episodes coming forward in the weeks to come will also feature commentary, feature narration from Mauro, because I assume these were, taped a long time ago. But yeah, great stuff here. Check it out right now on the WWE Network, the By Any Means Necessary episode of WWE Timeline. Be sure to check out all my other WWE Timeline reviews right here on the channel, in the playlist, in the description box down below. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Hit the little bell button as well to be notified every time a new video goes up. And yeah, that's about it, guys. So take care. Have a great rest of your week/weekend, depending on when you're listening to this. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.